Hello and welcome to the Simply Smart Business Podcast. I'm your host, Nicki Ong, and today I'm joined by Allie Fisher. She is the head of client services and strategy and senior marketing consultant at ModGirl Marketing and Luminetics. And today we're going to be talking about some really amazing things with Allie, including social selling and outreach, being authentic in the world of AI, which I know is a super hot topic for a lot of us, and how to use storytelling with your brand and content. So welcome, Allie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk all things social selling and AI and all the fun stuff that's happening in the landscape right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I like to start with a little bit of story time.
Sure.
Because we all have a journey, we all got here somehow, and I think it's important
Yeah,
to honor that and talk about it. So tell us a little bit about how you got here to where you are now.
sure. So I've actually been working in the digital marketing space for almost like 20 years now, which is so crazy to think about.
Amazing.
I'm like aging myself too.
Not at all. I've been here about the same. Yeah.
So actually, when I went to school in Los Angeles, I'm from California. I currently live in Southern California, and I actually majored in screenwriting. And I've always loved storytelling and building that brand and like captivating audiences. And I did a minor in marketing emphasis. So I kind of already had that background with the screenwriting and the marketing. And after a few years working in the film industry, I moved south to Orange County and started the whole agency life. I did everything. Kawasaki was one of my major clients, and I was really on the account side, and I was still doing some of the brand development. I worked with them in the brand development on their international properties, but I really wanted to get more into like the nitty-gritty of marketing because I was doing a lot of account and client services, but like at the core, I love telling a story. I love helping people strategize and build their brands. So I linked up with Mandy McEwen at ModGirl Marketing about 10 years ago now. And I've been working with her ever since. And, our whole ethos at ModGirl and at Luminetics is everything we do is very bespoke. It's very custom. And we really believe that everybody has a story to tell. And we also believe like you can be successful through social media and social selling and marketing. We're not just like a typical out of the box here, just implement some generic strategies. Like we really like get into the nitty gritty of it. And I like seeing people like come out of their shell and be like, oh, I actually do have a story that's interesting to tell. If you think like you don't, we all come, like you said, we all come from somewhere, and it's probably some of like just my background with film and everything. Like I really, all the content I produce and all the content we produce, you really emphasize that human element because that's what makes somebody want to connect with you. And that's going to make somebody want to do business with you too. You're not just a robot or a generic brand out there. Like you're actually a real human with feelings and ideas, and people realize like, oh, hey, like I can connect with that too. So, in a nutshell about me.
Yeah, beautifully said. And I just want to reiterate the piece about storytelling because a lot of my clients go through the same thing where I'm talking to them and it seems a very big commonality between entrepreneurs, marketers, like I'm just Joe Schmo and I've kind of the same story as anybody, and just sort of really belittling the steps that were taken and the really powerful pieces that make up who people are. Those are important.
Definitely, even just your day-to-day experiences or something you encounter can be applied to business, your personal life. I'm a mom, I have two kids. Like, I'm even seeing like life lessons from my kids as they navigate through school. Some of those same concepts still apply today in sales, like putting yourself out there and networking. And yeah, they're making friends, but that's like just like in sales, like you're networking and you're learning to make these opportunities and connect with people. Whoever's out there thinking like I don't have a story, like yeah you do, even if it's just like the day-to-day mundane, even if it's something you encounter like with a neighbor or outside of work or just in your personal life, like there's something obviously interesting that somebody out there is going to connect with.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about that, branching into the social selling and outreach. Talk to us about that and what that means for you.
So basically, the old sales playbook is essentially gone, right? Back in the day, I grew up like my dad was in sales, like computer sales for many years and tech and stuff. And, back then, like it was a lot of cold calling, door to door, cold email, and all of those concepts still apply and can still be effective. But the new era of social selling is exactly how it sounds. It's being social. You're focusing on building relationships with people, not just selling and pitching to them. You're actually establishing a relationship. You're building rapport. And that's done through social media, hence the name social selling. It's done through posting valuable content. It's done through engaging with content. It's done through sending messages. You don't just go out and pitch out of the gate. Like it's almost like you're wining and dining somebody. You want to
Mm,
build that relationship and build that trust. And that's really the era of social selling. Everyone's online now. They're consuming media on all these different platforms. And if you want to be a key player and actually make an impact, then you need to show that you're a reputable person with good insights and you're here to provide value, not just to pitch.
absolutely. And is that something that you guys help out with at Luminetics?
Definitely. At Luminetics, that's like a big part of it is because we do get a lot of sales teams that come to us and they're like, I'm sending all these messages, especially on LinkedIn. I'm not getting responses. Nobody's paying attention to me. And then we go look at their profile and it's like, first off the bat, like your profile is not optimized. You have like a gray picture for your image, you're not engaging with content. So and LinkedIn, there's I think over 1 billion users on LinkedIn now, which is
Mm,
crazy. So if you're just getting a bunch of connection requests and they are going to click on your profile and they just see like a gray square, like of course they're not going to respond. And if
mhm.
you're coming out like you've never engaged with this person online and you're just like, here's what I have to offer, here's what my company has to offer. Can I hop on a call with you? Like that's an instant turn off. I get those all
Yep.
the time sure you do too. So we really teach them like, hey, take a step back. Let's start engaging with people. Let's build your presence. So when you do send a message, which is not a pitch right out the gate, like somebody's gonna look at your profile and be like, oh yeah, they're like active and oh, look what they have to offer. Oh, look what they've done. Look at the value they provide. It's not just somebody pitching their services yet again, because especially like busy C-suite level people, like they're inundated with messages every day. They don't
Mm,
need another pitch in their inbox. They just don't. They're just incomplete.
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And do you have a recommendation for people? Because I feel like LinkedIn's a little bit different animal than, say, Instagram or even Facebook or some of the others. Do you have a recommendation for your clients as far as how often they should be posting or how often they should be doing outreach?
The gold standard is daily, obviously,
Mm,
but the outreach and engagement piece is almost more important than the posting. And what I mean
yep.
by that, you're going onto your target prospects' content and you're liking their posts, commenting, and you're not just saying, great post, thumbs up emoji, and you're not
Hmm.
using AI comments, which is a whole other thing we can talk about. You're actually like replying to it and you're building a thoughtful conversation. You're actually looking at what they're reading. You're taking the extra 5 minutes to read their post and be like, hey, I really enjoyed this insight on XYZ. That's what's going to move the needle. And you need to be doing this daily and you need to be doing it consistently. It's the
Mm,
consistency part, which is key here. And once you're starting to engage, people will look at your feed. Oh, this person's active. They're leaving comments. Oh, they mentioned something on one of my posts. That means they have some clue to what I do. I'm not just a name that they got scraped from an email list and they're just
hmm.
blasting out messages. And then those first messages, when you do send after engaging, hey, I really enjoyed your post on XYZ topic. And then ask them a question, start a conversation. That's the big thing too. Ask questions, because if you're just going to blatantly pitch somebody and not ask a question, like why would they respond? There's no need for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it's uncanny the difference in the feedback that you get. Because I've had recommendations of let's try some cold,
Yeah, totally.
emailing on LinkedIn. So I'm like, okay, let's try it. We'll see. Just get
Yeah.
some data. And the difference in the feeling or the tone from someone back, if they even if they do respond back to
Yeah.
a cold email versus being engaging and networking and trying to be just authentically asking a question. It's insane the difference.
And I mean, of course, cold email has its place and,
Sure.
large corporations use it, but there's also a strategy behind that where you're not just, again, sending some, like you're doing your research. It's all about doing your homework and being consistent. And I've noticed that to a lot of my conversations on LinkedIn are just a lot of it is just conversations. And then it's like, oh, I see you do XYZ, or somebody notices something we have to offer. That sounds really interesting. Can I learn more? Because they
Mhm.
felt they've had an opportunity to get to know me, or they get to know Mandy, or just our brand, and they really feel like, okay, I now have a deeper understanding of what you have to offer. Let's continue the conversation further.
Absolutely. And it takes time, right? You have to be able to be willing to use that time
Absolutely.
or get some help from somebody like
Yeah,
Luminetics or, have somebody in
definitely.
the business that's helping out.
Nothing that's great is ever going to happen like overnight, right? Like in a
Hmm.
perfect world, sure. Like, and a lot of times when we see our clients start to implement these tactics, they do see a really drastic increase instantly in exposure, especially when they optimize their profile and in response
Hmm.
rates. All of a sudden, they're like actually having conversations. And now they're seeing the more engagement and they're seeing people looking and checking out their profile because they've optimized it through our profile profits program or they've optimized it through coaching and now they understand like, oh wow, this actually does work because I'm not just sending out yet another generic message that's like, hi, can we hop on a call for a chat, and they've
Hmm.
engaged with this person before. The person's just going to click delete, or it's going to go into the other inbox on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You want to stay in the focused inbox, you don't want to go to other.
Yeah. Or better yet, when are you available? As if it's already assumed
Are
it's
you
going to happen.
available? Or I sent you an invite. I've even got emails before where it's like I literally like a call invite with like no other context. Just like here's a calendar invite to something, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Like I'm not just gonna hop on a random call,
Yeah.
where they pretend like they have your phone number. I've had that too. They're like, when's a good time I can call you? I have your number. And I'm
Hmm.
that's kind of creepy, like not gonna lie. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you don't have my just trying to get me to respond.
Yeah, and I think that it's clear that we need to still follow social cues that are not on social
Totally.
media, right? Like as if you were a real person on the street, you're not just going to walk up to them and say, "When's a good time for a call?"
When's a good time for a chat? Can you give me your phone number? Like,
Yeah,
oh, hey, I have XYZ I'm pitching to you. Like, you obviously want to sign up, right? Like, no, that's not how it works.
right.
So take your social cues and apply them. That's what social selling is. Like the word social's in it. Like apply those same cues to your outreach.
Absolutely. Well said. And I think this is a good segue into the world of AI because you want to put the authenticity back into that. So how do we build authenticity into a world that's full of
So
AI?
And like, let me be clear, like everyone's going to be using AI, and AI is a helpful tool. There's a
Yep.
lot of benefits to it. It can be really efficient. But if you are just typing in and relying on ChatGPT to just tell you and just give you an output and you're not putting some thought behind it, like it comes across inauthentic. I always joke
Mhm.
and I content about this that it's very obvious when somebody does a post with ChatGPT because ChatGPT has very key indicators. They use rocket emojis a lot. They love the word skyrocket. I say they. It's a tool. It's not like a person. And then they use arrows and things like that.
Yep.
So, and one of the big things, and I've seen other creators comment on this on LinkedIn, is just the oversaturation of AI comments because you can just basically have a bot just leave these comments, but the comments are so generic, they come across sounding the same, and sometimes they don't even have anything to do with your post. And you
Mm,
can tell this isn't somebody's real voice, because you can see the same comment on six other posts. And that's a turnoff.
absolutely.
They see that and they're like, okay. And I know some people have been a little hesitant to post too because they're like, I don't want to get spammed with a bunch
Hmm.
of bots. Thankfully, I haven't seen too much of that, and most of the people that engage with my content are real people. But AI, it can be used as long as it like you're using it wisely and you're using it smartly. And one of the AI tools that we offer is our Lumi Post Writer, where the tool actually learns your voice. So you give it,
Mm,
you work with it to understand your brand, your tone, your voice, even like yes emojis, no emojis, yes exclamation, no exclamation, and you use it to help you craft content. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for your writing. It's
hmm.
great for brainstorming, it's great for ideas. And this tool is really helpful because it's not just using the standard chat GPT where if you type it in, like it just kind of spits out whatever it spits out as an answer, but it's not going to sound like you. Where if you've
Right.
trained it, it will sound like you, it will be more authentic. But at the end of the day, you always need that human oversight. You always need to proofread. This is
Hmm.
like the screenwriting because there's been a big talk in, the film industry about stuff going AI, and that was part of what the
Mm,
Writers Guild strike was a few years ago because, rightfully so, we're concerned. They're like, my job is going to be taken away by a machine. And at the end of the day, like the human story cannot be replicated by AI, at least
hmm.
not. So My always advice is use it smartly, use something like our post writer, but don't just rely on it to do your thinking for you. Like if you're going to
Mhm.
engage people and send messages, like always, always, always double check and have oversight on it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think of it the same way that it's simply a tool. We have lots
Mhm.
of tools and technology that are wonderful, and we still need that human touch in order to humanize it. And that, the output from these things is only as good as the input. So when you do have a marketing background or you are giving it the key information that it needs, the output's going to be much better, but that it still needs that sort of
Totally.
expert copy editing hand to make it sound like you.
And the tool is like it's going to be designed to be agreeable, right? So it's not disagree with you. It's a tool, right? So you're putting in stuff and it's generally going to give you kind of an output that roughly that you want. Like it may be off base a bit. So that's just something to keep in mind that you want to, if you're going to use it, train it to learn your voice. Or, when you do have more of a solid marketing background, you know what to ask, how to ask, use it
Mhm.
for ideas, use it to help. Like you're like, oh, I'm really stuck crafting an email. Like, let
Yeah,
me run it through and have it proofread for me or something, or have it help me wordsmith it. But don't just say, hey, write this email for me and then just send it blindly,
blindly.
without
Yeah.
understanding your client or their audience or anything.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing too, that it's been most valuable for me is just efficiency. I know that's a big one for a lot of people, but those moments when you are stuck
Yeah.
and you're like, I normally this would be so easy, and maybe it's just what's going on with the moon, maybe it's the time of day, maybe it's
Yeah.
your cycle. It could be so many things,
Right.
right? And
The brand is
you're
always my
just banging your head against
yeah,
the table just to come up with ideas. It's perfect for things like that. And then you can focus more on those higher level thinking tasks
definitely.
that are human in essence.
Exactly, exactly. Like it is a really good, like I've used it for brainstorming or content ideas. And then sometimes like, oh, look at the post and I'm like, this is not how I would sound, but I
Yeah.
like the idea. I like the
Yeah.
concept. So let me roll with that.
And then you can tweak from there, which is beautiful. And so, how do we start using all of these things? How do we start actually using storytelling in our brand and in our content?
Well, that's the first thing is to like really understand your brand and
Mhm.
really understand your objective. And I think sometimes this falls more with entrepreneurs and, even larger organizations, but sometimes I think they struggle with that brand identity crisis. Like they
Mhm.
don't know like who it like you need to have an understanding of your brand all the way down to your ICPs, your voice, what words you use or don't use, your like what are even envisioning these ICPs, like what are they interested in? What content are they consuming? What is their major pain points? And if you are not clear on that, it makes tying in storytelling really hard because you're not being your authentic self or you're not being that authentic brand. So once you're crystal clear on that, then you can start pulling like real life experiences or customer stories. We always tell our clients to like leverage what your customers are telling you. If they've
Mhm.
experienced a high or a low and what they've learned from it, like case studies, testimonials, that can be weaved into your brand. But at the end of the day, like you have to understand like what your target is, and then you can craft like your messaging around it and you can craft your tone around it because
Mhm.
what may resonate with one SaaS company may not resonate with another SaaS company. You
Right.
really have to know, but be true to who you are and what your brand stands for before you
Yeah,
even dive into storytelling. And
that's
then
a
we
great point.
always recommend people to like they can look at what other people are writing, in your industry. Look at comments. Look at what the comments are on people's posts.
Mm.
Pull content from that. Look at the comments and be like, hey, that's a great idea. Like somebody's talking about this. It's obviously a pain point for someone or an insight for someone. Let me craft that and tell a story around it and maybe tie in your own personal experiences or tie in your brand's perspective on it.
That's a great tip. Yeah, I love that idea of I'm always a go-to for like the FAQs, like what are people always asking you?
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of a missed opportunity. I think going along with, your prospects and your target audience is sometimes we sort of lose that direct communication with our customers, and we're not really talking to them enough to see what their pain points are, to see what types of stories will resonate, and we're just sort of going off our best guesses.
Yeah, and you have to look at the data, right? You can't just look
Mm.
at, post impressions, look at the comments, look at who's engaging and customer pain points, like some of them evolve, things change. The industry is changing. The world right now is changing. There's a
Mm,
lot of unknown and moving pieces going around. So
mhm,
there are pain points that may have been an issue 6 months ago. They may be different now. There may be another pressing issue facing their business. So you always
mhm.
have to be able to be agile and adapt as well.
Yeah, that flexibility is so key. And I think that's another thing that plays into AI as well, is that AI can be very dated because it's
Definitely.
not up to date with all the goings on, right? So
Yeah.
it falls to us to ensure that we're creating content that is up to date, that's timely, and relevant.
And also a lot of with AI too is people don't realize too with ChatGPT, there's like the free version and the paid version. So obviously with
Hmm.
the paid version, those models are more updated, more sophisticated, and you're going to get a better output. Like, not that you can't use the free version because you can, but like even when we have people use our post writer, like, hey, you really need the paid version for this. It just elevates a little more if you want to use it consistently, and you will like obviously get the value and the worth out of it. But that's
Hmm.
something that I think people think too. They can just slap in a quick AI search in Chat GPT, the free version, and I'm like, wait, hold on a second, like you may not be getting the full output that you need.
Yeah, something just popped into my head around what LinkedIn is doing. I know in SEO, I deal a lot with Google, and they have really clamped down on AI written content because they want to serve up the best possible content. And sadly, sometimes that means show their own AI version for better or worse.
Use our tool over here. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I'm wondering if you've seen the same in LinkedIn. Does the algorithm shut down AI written content or does it?
The algorithm, the LinkedIn algorithm is like kind of a finicky beast, I like to
Mm,
say. Definitely when there was a period where there was just like a lot of bots and a lot of people like kind of engaging through pods, and it was just like the same people over and over and over on all this content. Like it
hmm.
definitely on that. Like you could tell like some content wasn't getting served. LinkedIn does tend to like it does favor video and more of those authentic things where you see like a human being and people like engaging and having those conversations.
Yep.
But the AI comments, I don't know how deep it's gone yet to like pull those, but I have noticed like some creators have said like, hey, my reach isn't as high because, maybe they're getting like inundated with AI comments and then the algorithm,
Mm.
wait a minute, what's going on here? Even though it's not like the creator's own doing, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just people are using those bots to like push out like engagement because they're trying to like build their own presence on the platform, which is not the way to do
Yeah.
it.
No, no, it's not. And that's unfortunate. So hopefully they can hone in a little bit better on
Yeah,
where it's coming from.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh man. Well, and it's ever changing too, right? So I love that point about being flexible with it and sort of rolling with the punches a bit.
That's kind of like how social is in general, right? Like just when you
Hmm.
think about the algorithm figured out, like something changes or
Hmm.
something else. And that's why we always tell people to like don't focus on going viral or trying to beat the algorithm. Just be consistent because that ultimately is going to pay off. You can't worry about these external factors. You can't worry about if, oh, is my post going to go viral? Oh, what if the algorithm does this? Just focus on what you know and what you can do and be consistent and show up every day. That's what's going to move the needle because a lot of times, even if a post goes viral, like that doesn't mean people are going to buy. They may like the post, they may leave a comment,
Hmm.
but are they actually going to convert? So just focus on being consistent always.
Well said. Well said. And I think too, I see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially, right out of the gate saying, I got to be here, 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 and here. And then their
Yeah.
full-time job becomes marketing. And
Yeah.
that's a really good way to get burnt out and then just quit all of the platforms all at once
Yeah.
and stop
Like
showing
you're so
up.
overwhelmed. You're just constantly chasing things. They're like, okay, what's Instagram doing over here and TikTok? And oh, but I've got
Yeah.
to do the LinkedIn algorithm. It gets overwhelming. Like just focus on creating content, use video, get in front of the camera. Don't be afraid to be in front of the camera. Post what's interesting to you and valuable to your audience and just keep at it. Don't give up after like a week and be like, well, I didn't get enough likes on my post because a lot of times people are lurking too. They may not like or comment, but
Mm-hmm.
they're and those are
I
usually
notice that a lot. Yeah, especially these days on social media that people are reading and viewing, but they're just passing by
yes.
unless it's really, really engaging content that they feel compelled to comment on or like. But what I do love about LinkedIn is that you can actually see who's coming to your profile, which is really cool.
And we always recommend to look at your profile views, look at who's viewing your
Mm,
content, and then connect with them and just say, like, hey, saw you're checking out my profile. Was there anything of interest to you? And just start a conversation. because a lot of those lurkers are going to be the ones that ultimately will convert and turn into some sort of relationship, customer, client, whatever.
Great tip. And you never know what's going to come out of any networking opportunity, right? Because I mean, the amount of times I've met someone and then they say, I need to introduce you to so and so. So it's not that first content, but it's the second.
Or they're like, hey, this isn't for me, but I know somebody that is in need of their profile being updated,
Yeah.
or I know somebody that's struggling with outreach. Can I get you guys connected? And when you've built that platform and you have that optimized presence, then you can benefit from those referrals more because a referral will check you out and be like, oh, okay, yeah, this person seems legit.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been so amazing,
Yeah.
incredibly insightful stuff. Allie, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. What's the best way for listeners to connect with you?
Connect with me on LinkedIn. I don't know if you'll include the LinkedIn
I
URL.
will. I'll include the link.
Okay. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you are struggling to optimize your LinkedIn presence or you want to get a head start, we do have a free jumpstart course. It's golumi.io/free. And you can check out our jumpstart course. It helps you just get the head start on optimizing your LinkedIn profile. I love all things LinkedIn, and I think there's such a huge benefit there, and people need to not sleep on it as a valuable social network.
Yes, couldn't agree more. I love that you have that free tool. That's amazing. And do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
I just think stick with consistency, be true to yourself, don't be afraid to share your brand voice. That's like the big thing is just consistency, day in and day out. Like put in the time, do the outreach, leave the comments, consistency and commenting, the two C's, maybe we'll put it that way.
Love
Comment,
it.
engage with people, and be consistent. And don't be afraid to share. I share all sorts of stuff on my LinkedIn, and some of it hits, some of it doesn't, but I still show up every day. Like, who cares? Be consistent and be yourself and really hone in on who your brand is and what you stand for.
Well, Allie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here on the podcast. And to our amazing listeners, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Simply Smart Business podcast for more inspiring conversations and actionable strategies. And we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.